What's up, guys? So I've gotten a few questions like this in regards to DC All In, asking what is it? Is it an event? Are there tie-ins? Do I need to read anything else before I read that? So I thought it might be helpful for me to just kind of explain what it is, go over it with you a little bit, because it really is something that's very, very exciting, and I want everybody else to be as excited about it as I am. So first of all, DC All In is not an event, okay? There is not a main line of books like there was with Absolute Power. You know, you had Absolute Power 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you had the tie-in series, Absolute Power Task Force 7, and you had the other tie-in series, Absolute Power Origins, and then you had issues of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman that tied in with that as well, but there was still that mainline story. This is nothing like that. There is not an all-in number 1, number 2, number 3. It's nothing like that whatsoever. Instead, All In is a publishing initiative where everybody at DC Comics, from the editors to the writers to the artists, even the marketing department, everybody is on board with the types of stories they're going to tell, with the direction that they're going to go in with these stories, with the grand scope of stories that they're going to tell. Everybody is on the exact same page, and I'm really excited about that because I think that's going to make for some really, really great books. And I know that might sound kind of weird because you might be thinking, well, isn't that just how it is all the time? And the answer is no. So to give you a really good example, if you guys are familiar with the YouTube channel Comic Tropes, he does some great videos. He's one of my favorite channels, and he did a great video about a year ago talking about the New 52 and how it came to fruition and what it was like around the DC offices at the time that the New 52 was going on. And it sounds like pure chaos. It sounds like the editors didn't know what the writers were doing. The writers didn't know what the editors wanted them to do. The artists weren't really sure what they were supposed to be drawing. One great example is in that video, he talks about how George Perez, who was the writer of the main Superman title, he went to editorial to ask, hey, what is canon now in this brand new universe? Can I use Kryptonite? Can I use Clark's parents and that kind of thing? Because Grant Morrison was writing Action Comics, and he wanted to make sure that Superman and Action Comics lined up with each other, that they didn't contradict each other. So again, he goes to editorial to ask them, what can I use? And editorial was just like, I don't know. I don't know what Grant Morrison's doing over there. So it was just chaos. Like I said, nobody knew what anybody else was doing. There were so many inconsistencies. The universe was brand new, but all of the prior Green Lantern stories were still canon, but yet they started over with Superman, and some of Batman stuck and some of it didn't. It was just, like I said, chaos. And it really showed in the books. As you were reading those books, especially the early New 52 books, you're thinking, wait, what in the world? If this happened, then that means that didn't happen, but then that happened, so that should have happened. It was just madness, and it made no sense whatsoever. Well, DC All In is the exact opposite of that. Everybody's on the same page. Editorial has given the writers and the artists free reign to do whatever they want to do, whatever stories they want to tell, within reason, of course. Chip Zdarsky's not going to come in and change Batman's identity, and Joshua Williamson's not going to kill off Superman. Nothing like that whatsoever. But they have been given the green light to tell big stories that might otherwise have been stifled by editorial. That happens a lot when a writer wants to tell a story, but editorial, especially at Marvel too, editorial might say, well, you can't tell this story because we want to do this with that character, especially since there's a movie coming out. We got to make sure that that lines up. There is a lot of editorial meddling, especially in the big two, but DC, it sounds like they have kind of overcome that. And yeah, like I said, editorial has given everybody the green light to take big swings, tell big stories within reason. Again, they're not going to do anything too drastic, but I think that's going to just increase the quality of the books. It's really going to show because the writers can write, creators can create, and editorial isn't going to get in the way too much, and I think that's really going to be awesome. Another example comparing New 52 to this All In initiative is that the New 52, according to the Comic Tropes video, it sounds like it all came together in about 6 months. It all spun out of the Flashpoint storyline, but that was not Jeff Johns' original plan for Flashpoint. It was all going to just sort of end, and then it was going to roll into a new Flash story and a new Flash book. But instead, Dan DiDio wanted to make that the dawn of this whole brand new universe. And it all came together really fast. It went, like I said, within the span of about 6 months or so. So it was all rushed, right? Well, with All In, Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson and some others, they have been working on this for 2 years. There's actually a picture that Scott Snyder posted on Instagram back in 2022 where he's at the DC offices, and the caption is something like, "I'm at DC working on something big." And he recently revealed that that picture was pitching the idea of All In to DC. So they have been working on this for a really long time. He said that they wanted to give all of the writers and editorial enough time to tell the stories that they wanted to tell. Not that anything is getting rebooted whatsoever, but he did want everything to sort of start at the same spot with new story arcs. So he wanted to give all the creators plenty of time to tell whatever story they wanted to tell and to work it so that the current storylines would end right around September of this year, and then new story arcs could start in October. And that's something that I want to mention too, is that DC All In is not a reboot, okay? There are some bad actors out there, some YouTube clowns, who still call this a reboot, a retcon, a relaunch. It is not that whatsoever. Nothing is getting rebooted. Nothing is getting renumbered. We are getting some new number ones of books we haven't had in a while, like Justice League Unlimited, like Justice Society of America. We're getting a new Cassandra Cain Batgirl book, a new Metamorpho book, Challenges of the Unknown. So that's going to be really cool. But there is no continuity that's being rebooted. All of the continuity that has existed over the course of the last several years, at least since Rebirth in 2016, all of that stays. All of the numbering of all of the current books is continuing. We are getting the Absolute Universe out of it, which is a side universe. It's a lot like Marvel's Ultimate Universe. If you like the Absolute Universe, which I've read 2 out of 3 of the new Absolute books, and they are phenomenal. But if it's not your thing, you can simply not read those, push them off to the side, and you've got your mainline DC Universe right here, or vice versa. If you don't like the mainline DC Universe, push it to the side and only read the Absolute stuff. So we are getting the Absolute books, but as far as the main DC Universe goes, no reboots, no resetting, nothing like that whatsoever. So sorry for the long video. I just really wanted to talk about this to try to help answer some questions, because I am super excited about this. You guys know that I have been loving DC Comics over the course of the last couple years, especially since the beginning of the dawn of DC. I feel like DC Comics finally got it right. They finally figured out how to just give us classic comics with some of the best creators out there, consistent creative teams, bright, hopeful stories, fun stories. These characters feel as classic as they did back in the 80s and 90s. And now All In just seems like it's going to ramp all of that up to 11. So I am really excited. I feel like everybody who likes superhero comics should be just as excited about this, because this is what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants just fun, classic superhero books, and that is what DC is giving us with this All In initiative. So again, I'm sorry for the long video. Just wanted to put some hopefully helpful information out there, answer any questions you might have. If you have any more questions, please ask me. I would love to help you sort through all this. I would love to help you find some new DC books to read. If you haven't been reading DC in a while, I would love to help connect you with some books that you might love. And this is the perfect time to do it, because like I said, everything is starting with new story arcs. You can jump right on and enjoy some awesome stories. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have questions, but we are about to get some really, really awesome books from DC.